There's a new parasite spreading across America, and what it feeds on is even worse. Small business owners. Once attached, it silently feeds off the host's bank account. And no, it's not the IRS. Those are called taxes. But unlike the IRS, you can actually avoid this plague. They call themselves business credit gurus. See, most credit gurus promising all this money are quietly burying businesses in funding traps that bleed their cash flow dry. Or worse, you pay them thousands up front and suddenly they turn into Casper the credit broker. Poof, gone, vanished. Death by 1,000 broken promises. And never in my 10 years in the credit industry has it been this bad. The good news is that after spending the last decade in this industry, I've seen it all. Every single credit trap you can think of. So I'm going to reveal how business credit gurus are casually hustling ambitious small business owners onto sinking ships loaded with high interest debt and fees. The industry has become a content farm invaded by fake operators. Every Lamborghini you see is rented. A borrowed lifestyle built on credit. One slow month away from getting buried. And their funding companies are the McDonald's of finance. Most of these credit clowns are middlemen peddling cookie cutter funding plans from Improve You, Funding Grow, 7 Figures Funding, or any one of those giant online loan mills. And half the time, they can't even follow through on the word. Yet they will charge thousands up front, plus back-end funding fees, taking anywhere from 10 to 15% for being the middleman. Even one of my students in my school community fell for this trap. He paid 2 separate funding companies so he could get business funding. Instead, they loaded him up with high-interest personal loans and monthly payments he couldn't afford, which nuked his spotless 787 credit score down into the low 500s, completely ruining his plans to buy his first fix and flip investment property. To make up for it, they offered to repair his credit. First, they had him fill out an FTC identity theft form. He was then told to go to his local police department to fill out a police report with a detective claiming his identity was stolen. And after completing those 2 steps, they disputed the collection accounts as identity theft. Most fell off, but there were still about 2 to 3 stubborn accounts. So the solution was to use human trafficking credit repair laws. This time he needed to file a police report claiming he's a victim of human trafficking. So then the rest of the accounts stayed on because what the actual fuck? So first they steal your money, tank your score, and then they ask you to commit fraud on their behalf so that they can fix it. Okay, got it. And somehow this guy got lucky. Some people pay and wake up blocked by Casper the credit broker the next morning. And this happens more often than it doesn't. Now let me tell you something else. All these credit secrets, you can find them with one ChatGPT prompt without using deep research. Simply turn on web search and type, what websites do credit card stackers use to get data points on banks to get 0% funding? Boom, there it is. All the same websites that I used 10 years ago appear instantly, including my personal favorite, MyFICO. Because there are no credit secrets. There never were any. I didn't learn this from some millionaire mentor in Dubai. My parents are from Mexico. To this day, they still have a hard time understanding how the American financial system works. So if I figure this out, so can you. Trust me, these gurus are not Harvard bankers, and this isn't rocket surgery, which requires expert eyes to keep an eye on you. Back in the day, I lived inside MyFICO forums. I would spend hours reading about bank data points, organizing it all in a Google sheet, and finally testing it all on my credit profile, ruining my credit multiple times in the process. But that's also how I learned most of these business credit hacks are fairy tales, especially Paydex. Apparently, ordering printer paper from Uline is supposed to unlock $100,000 in 0% business funding, because obviously Chase Bank sees office supplies and starts shaking with excitement. Meanwhile, your actual credit score, income, tax returns, and cash flow somehow matters less. You know, the things that tell banks if your business can pay them back. It's not your fault. My school didn't teach me anything about credit either. So you're probably wondering why business credit gurus even exist in the first place, because believe it or not, this industry didn't always look like this. This industry used to be filled with other credit nerds, spending our Friday nights reading bank lending policies instead of blacking out at bars, in the MyFICO forums, reading how Bill from California pulled $100,000 in funding. And because of that obsession, a lot of us genuinely help people. Real people with real families and real businesses. I was 21 when I started in this industry. I grew up in this industry. But at this point in my life, I'm not a business credit guru anymore. I'm a business loan consultant with real business loan products, like business lines of credit, SBA, commercial loans, alternative lending, and yes, I still offer 0% business credit cards to business owners, real estate investors, and even people buying businesses. The difference is that I have real lender relationships that work for a variety of situations, plus 10 years experience of trial and error. So if you're in this industry and wondering how not to become a business credit guru, start by picking up the phone and talking to lenders. Ask them questions like, what revenue docs are needed? What's the minimum credit score required? Anything that instantly gets a deal declined, because now you have a borrower profile. So you find the borrower and work on getting them approved. Trial and error. Action is where real knowledge comes from. And after all this, I understand why people want this industry regulated. After watching so many business owners get cooked by circus clowns pretending to be financial experts, I get it. You need a license to cut hair in most states, but somehow anybody with a ring light and a Stripe account can become a business credit guru overnight. And unlike a bad haircut, a 400 credit score doesn't grow back in 2 weeks.